This song is really about giving up and accepting the reality of the world we live in today. She's not yours, just give her back. A woman should be a part of your life, not the center of it. Women don't care about your struggles, they hang out at the finish line and choose the winners. I've known this coaching client for over 6 months, is a very successful, well-seasoned man who makes $2 to $3 million a year and has a significant net worth. He's also stuck on a problem. I'll read it to you so you can understand what's going on. He says, "What do you do when you know that 95% of women will just use you because of who you are?" He's talking about the level of honesty in a relationship. Here is how I see this question. What do you do when someone is using you for your connections and not for who they are? I'm not even sure if that's what he means. If I was in that situation, I would try to find out where they wanted to take the relationship. If they insisted that I use my connections and not who I am, then that would be a red flag for me, and I would probably end the relationship, even if it was good at first. The story behind this is that he's basically at the end of his career and pretty much done. He doesn't need to work for the rest of his life at this point, but he has such a big payout coming at the end that he doesn't want to risk it. So he's doing the right thing. He's not making women or a woman the focus of his life. His purpose and mission are still the focus of his life, which is why this much younger woman is interested in him. This video is really about giving up and accepting the way things are in the world we live in, instead of living in a dream world. I come out early in the morning to get some vitamin D. If I stayed out here all day, I'd be burned to a crisp because I don't tan very well. You can see that my arms are a nice shade of red, but they turn brown over time. For me, the reality of my relationship with getting my morning dose of vitamin D needs to have a time limit on it. She nodded, "I suppose, and I think we should end this here." His tone was final, and she thought about arguing with him. She wanted to know what had happened with the woman, but didn't want to push him away. But since he'd already made a decision about their partnership, she couldn't force him to continue talking if he didn't want to. The woman in question is already out of my life for now. I'm not sure about the future, but for now, she'll have to wait. I know you're trying, but what do you think is going on? Eleanor asked again. Can't you say anything? I have to accept that it's not an all-day thing. One of the things guys have trouble with is accepting the reality of women and who and what they are, which isn't a bad thing. When you know women for what they are, you can move forward in logical, concise steps and make the right choices so you don't get burned. There are a lot of men who are frustrated and annoyed because they don't get very good results with women. I mean, most women only have a third of the upper body strength of most men. They aren't built for physical work like hunting and gathering, which is what we did for millions of years before we made roads, homes, electricity, cameras, and other things. We wouldn't have been as successful as a species if women weren't hypergamous and solipsistic, which just means that they always want to feel good about themselves. You can't choose your personality, but you can attempt to change it. 95% of web mods, and the truth is that it's all women will keep you around as long as you're useful. And that's a cold hard truth bump some people can't take, that some people have a very hard time swallowing, that jagged little pill. But when you accept it, when you surrender to it, and you understand that women don't love you the way you want them to love you, we as men want women to love us the way we thought women should love us. As time goes on, the sexual marketplace will become more hostile to men in general. This is what this toxic version of feminism is doing to the sexual marketplace. So you just have to accept it. With that in mind, when you accept the world as it is, you can live in it and understand that it is what it is. The most popular sport in the world is football or soccer in North America. However, when someone buys a ticket to a football game and goes to the stadium, they know what they're getting into. They're going to see two teams play. There will be a lot of noise, including boos, cheers, and screams. They know what to expect and are happy with the results. There is no noise, only the sound of a drop hitting a pool. A person is standing in the middle of a large crowded room. Suddenly, they hear a noise that they are pretty sure is an explosion or some sort of disaster. They start to panic when a drop falls from above and hits them on the head. I'm talking about an older man who is 40 or older. By that age, you should have your kids out of the way. This guy's divorce is over, he's paid a settlement, and he has no more responsibilities there. His kids are almost adults, so he's just paying for college now. But when you get to that age, you need to make sure that you don't live in a way that the state will see as marriage. If you live in a common law place, I would listen to my lawyer's best advice, which might be just not to take the chance. It's not worth it, and all men need to have that talk with themselves. They'd also need to learn about domestic violence laws in their area, because there are some crazy women out there. 1 in 5 women is said to have a borderline personality disorder, which makes them dangerous to be around. If they falsely accuse you of domestic violence, you could go to jail and lose your money and assets. If your wife tells a story of being assaulted and turns out to be false, you may get arrested for domestic violence. If you don't believe her, she can call the police on you and send you to jail. Women are disproportionately awarded custody after divorce. There can be problems with that, so it's important to know these key things about where you live. There are a lot of rich guys out there who have made money and have access to wealth. So there's no reason why you shouldn't pay a lawyer for an hour or 2 of their time to find out what family law is like in your area when it comes to women, and then just play the game by those rules, even if that means never living with a woman again. But I'm not saying that to you, and I'm not saying that to your ex-girlfriend. What I am saying is that there are a lot of rich guys out there who have made money and have access to wealth. So there's no reason why you shouldn't pay a lawyer for an hour or 2 of their time to find out what family law might best suit your situation. So why would my father want a lawyer in the first place? A lot of reasons, and it's really hard to know what his motivation is behind this. That's it for today. I hope you are living a good life and learning from these videos. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I'll see you all soon.